Good morning and welcome back to FlexWell. Today we have Coach Minna Yusri with us, a nutritionist, a fitness trainer, and a women's hormonal specialist. Coach Minna, welcome back to FlexWell.
Thank you for having me again.
It's wonderful to have you. I feel like our viewers learned a lot last time you were here, and I'm hoping we can learn a lot more today.
Definitely, I have so many more information that I would love to give.
I guess I would like to start with something that I feel is a very controversial topic in the health and dieting world, sugar.
Yes.
I personally have a sweet tooth. I love eating sweets and sugar, but it seems to be demonized a lot. So what do you have to say about sugar in terms of dieting and healthcare and lifestyle?
Frankly, sugar is not just an ingredient. If we see sugar, we can see it as a chemical, as
Really?
a hormonal disruptor. Why? Because as soon as you have sugar, and there's high level of sugars in your blood, it spikes insulin. And insulin is a hormone. And as long as insulin is high in the body, you will never lose fat.
Really? So does eating any sugar spike insulin? Like it's immediate? Or is it like a long-term kind of
Yes,
thing?
immediately. And
Wow.
it depends on the glycemic index of the food that you are eating. But the problem is not the occasional dessert. The problem is the hidden sugars. Because nowadays, there's sugar everywhere. In the breads,
Oh,
in the
really?
juices, not just the desserts.
So it's like all the
there are so
processed
many-
foods that we eat?
Not just the processed foods. You can look at juices mostly. People think of juices as a healthy snack. But if you are drinking 4 oranges, the amount of sugar in 4 oranges is way more than 1 orange. So you're actually taking a lot of sugar at one time.
Is it the same if it's like freshly squeezed oranges?
It's
or...
the same thing.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
I guess it makes more sense to eat the oranges, right? Because you would eat less oranges.
You eat less
and-
less sugar. The orange itself as a fruit has fibers, so it wouldn't spike the insulin level as much as having a glass of orange juice.
So is it like the immediate sugar that spikes the insulin? Like if you're eating sugar along with like some fiber or protein, does it change how the body metabolizes
It's
it?
part of a way that we tell people to do it. So if you really want to have a snack that has a lot of sugar, then I would recommend that you have a protein with it. I recommend that you eat a small portion. So part of the tricks that we actually say to people is that if you want to eat something that's high in sugar, is have a protein with it, because it slows down the effect of the insulin spike.
Okay, I think I heard somewhere that there's a proper way to eat sugar or carbs that doesn't spike the insulin.
The proper way is having it with protein,
Okay.
and not having it in big portions, and not having it fasted. So as soon as you wake up, you should not have something that is high in carb or high in sugar, because this is when you can have a very high spike in your insulin levels.
All right, I feel like sugar is a very hard thing for a lot of people to give up though. Is there like sugar addiction or anything like that? You said it's a bit chemical, how it reacts in the body. So does it cause a type of addiction almost?
The more you have it, because what happens when you eat sugar, when insulin spikes, like the blood sugar levels are high in the blood, insulin spikes, and then what happens after? You have a crash, and you feel like you're more hungry, you feel like you want more sugar, because sugar didn't give you the nutrients or the satisfaction or satisfied your hunger. And that's why you keep in this, it's a kind of a cycle that you keep in it. And that's why people with sweet tooth, they find themselves always in this cycle. To get out of this cycle is that, as we said, we don't want to be restrictive, but why don't you have better swaps? Like instead of having a candy bar, you can have a piece of fruit. If you are having a candy bar, why don't you drink Greek yogurt drink with it, for example, just for the protein? It's the small habits over time that you can eventually change and reduce the sugar in your diet. The occasional dessert, there's nothing wrong with the occasional dessert.
Okay, so all the people who just cut out sugar or cut out carbs, you wouldn't recommend that.
Still, we go back to the restrictive diets, which are very hard to maintain. I always like to have lifestyle changes that are sustainable.
That's very interesting. Someone who loves sugar, I do struggle with balancing it out in my diet. I do try to have fiber or protein with it, but I think what you said is very interesting. I'm going to make sure to just try to reduce.
Are you having your main meals?
I'm trying, yes. I have breakfast. That's one of the main things.
But because you are hungry and you have a sweet tooth, because you crave it, your body is used to it. That's why you keep having sugar. But if you have your main meal, which is in protein and fiber, you'll find yourself craving sugar. You can have a little, but not as much without having your meal.
Thank you. I feel like that's going to help a lot of viewers, a lot of people in general, when wanting to indulge in their sweet tooth. For now, we're going to take a break and we'll be back with more topics about nutrition and health. Thank you, Coach Minna.
Thank you.
Welcome back to FlexWell. Here we are with Coach Minna. Today, we're also going to be talking about gluten. How much does gluten actually affect people? I feel like it's become a big topic in the healthcare world these days. So can you tell me more about it?
It is. The thing about wheat nowadays, it's not the same wheat as people used to eat 50 years ago.
Really? It's different?
Of course it's different. The wheat nowadays is processed. It's stripped out of fiber. It's stripped out of all the nutrients. So it actually acts more like sugar than it is wheat.
That's surprising.
And that's the problem.
That's so surprising. I always thought wheat was fiber.
Actually, some people say wheat nowadays is the new candy. Like candy now, because it in the body, when you have wheat nowadays, it acts the same as if you are having sugar.
So it affects all kinds of people now. So would you say, like, if a normal person, would they be affected by gluten, or is it just someone who has gluten intolerance?
The thing about celiac, even if you of course, if you have celiac, you are more sensitive to gluten. But nowadays, because how gluten is or how wheat is, some people will find themselves more bloated. They're having digestion problems, they're having gut issues when they eat gluten. So what we say, even if they don't have celiac and their results get back negative. So what we always say is, like, listen to your body. If you find yourself having problems with wheat, swap it. There are always so many things you can swap bread with potatoes, sweet potatoes, quinoa, stuff like this. And if you really want the sandwich, no problem, but opt for sourdough. The fermentation in the sourdough makes it more easier on the gut, and have it with protein. Okay. Having the bread with protein slows digestion and make it easier on the stomach.
Okay, so for instance, I can relate to this because I have a friend who has gluten intolerance, and it's super sensitive. She can't have any tiny bit of gluten in her diet, or she'll like be bloated, be swelling up. Me, I'm fine with wheat and gluten. I can eat it with no problems. My mom doesn't have gluten intolerance, and yet she gets very bloated after having wheat or bread.
Exactly.
So it just differs for everybody.
Yes, listen to your body and just do better swaps. You don't have to cut it entirely, especially if you are not getting many symptoms. But there's another problem nowadays, that they advertise and market things as gluten-free. But when you actually look at the ingredients of the stuff that are gluten-free, they are higher in processed oils, they are higher in sugar. So actually, are you doing good for your body? You have to be very careful when it comes to gluten-free products, because most of them are just marketed as healthy, but actually at the end of the day, they're not. So you have to be careful when it comes to this.
So there's no point for the average person to just cut out gluten from their life.
To reduce it 100%, work with it the same way that you look at sugar. And still, I don't want you to be very restrictive, but just be smart about it. Having it with protein, opt for the sourdough, just simple changes.
So you can still enjoy the bread and carbs in your life in general, as long as you have with protein, or you incorporate it with certain things to just sort of balance out the meal more.
And there are so many recipes now that you can use other stuff rather than gluten and make bread. And just swap. Go for nature. Go for the potato. Go for the sweet potato.
I do love potatoes, I'll say that. One of the most versatile foods. I feel like, who doesn't love potatoes?
Exactly, yes.
Would you say that gluten causes a lot of inflammation in the body? Is it connected to inflammation?
That's the thing about sugar and gluten nowadays, or wheat. They do increase the inflammation of the body because how they are processed now and how they are stripped down from all the nutrients. And if you cannot lose weight if you have inflammation in your body. That's one of the main things. Like, people struggle with losing weight, but the thing is, the losing weight is the symptom, but where is the root cause? So you always have to go to the root cause. Maybe, yes, my body is full of inflammation because I'm eating too much sugar and I'm eating too much wheat the whole time, or I've been eating that. I'm eating these things for a long time, and of course my body is inflamed. As long as there's inflammation in the body, it's very difficult to lose fat.
So instead of going for, bread with wheat or anything, would you recommend like the seeded bread or like more grains and stuff like that instead? Or because for some people that still contains gluten, but it's a lot more protein and fiber. So does it help?
Of course, as long as you can reduce the wheat and add more, not healthier, but more nutrient-dense ingredients, this makes it much better and affect the glycemic index as well. It doesn't spike the insulin as much as a white bread would do.
Okay, so in general, it seems that balance is key with a lot of things. Demonizing sugar or gluten doesn't work, or restricting them completely from your diet. It's just better to, as you said, add protein, add fiber, make the healthy swaps. But if sometimes you want to have some toast, or if you want to have a cookie, it's okay. But in general, you need to keep a more balanced, healthy, wholesome approach to the meal.
Just be smart about it. Like, be smarter, be aware of what you're eating. And do I really want to have it? Or are there better options? Am I doing it daily? Is it something that will affect my health? If you ask these questions on a daily basis, you'll find yourself always like taking better choices. And as I told you, it's not a one-day thing. It's something that it's a lifestyle change, and it takes so many years and months for you to be able to adapt to it.
Thank you so much. I feel like that was so interesting. I didn't know that about gluten or sugar as much, and I feel like our viewers also are going to benefit a lot from this in their day-to-day life and habits. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was wonderful to have you, Coach Minna.
It's always wonderful to be here.
And thank you, viewers, for tuning in as well. Hopefully you'll join us next time with the amazing Coach Minna to discuss more health and nutrition topics. Thank you.